Yo, what is up? Welcome back. The Making of a Message. This is talking about the book I wrote, God Chose Me. Stop what you're doing right now. Go get the book if you haven't got it. Get it anywhere books are sold, or easiest way, charlesmetcalf.com. You can order that right now. But enough of getting the book, which you've already done or you're doing right now. Super special. This moment you're about to see is me and my little brother, Chandler Metcalf. And it's an amazing conversation about creativity, about fighting for your ideas, and specifically the process of designing the cover and all the ideas around God Chose Me. Some hilarious stories, funny moments, honest moments, and it's really going to help you. So take a moment, share this with a friend. Send it to somebody who is lame or cool. Either one works. But share it with a friend and make sure you go get the book, God Chose Me, Untouchable Confidence for the Unstoppable Christian. I love you. Enjoy this pod. Well, welcome today. Here we are on another iteration here of this thing we're doing.
Yep.
Don't know what the title is, but today is a very special day because I get to sit down and talk with my first and last little brother. The only brother I've ever had.
Let's go.
Chandler.
Couldn't be beat.
Barrington.
Couldn't be beat. Stop.
Wow. Glad you're here. Very
Yes.
ooh.
Let's go ahead and restart. You know what I'm saying?
You're in a prime ALD vibe right now.
I actually
the whole joint.
I actually
you really went
with the loafers and everything.
Yeah,
And I feel
that's
great.
amazing.
Actually.
You feeling
This
good?
is- ALD, I will say, has fallen off a little bit.
Really?
But, personally,
Wow.
I am not, falling as close as I was. But I do think this is a strong ALD vibe. So,
It is. Yeah.
with it.
It's very good.
Yeah.
So did one of these with Abby. Got to talk about the book.
Yes.
Book coming out. It releases in however long. June 17th.
Sure.
Go buy my book.
Come on.
All places books are sold. Make it easier for yourself.
CharlesMetcalf.com.
charlesmetcalf.com.
Yes.
But today we're going to talk about the creative process for the book God Chose Me. You were an integral part of that. But before we do that, tell us a little about yourself. We're here in your apartment
In my apartment.
in Sacktown.
In the Sack
In the
town,
Sack
all
City.
way back down. A little bit about me. 23 years old. I am married to a beautiful woman named Lauren Hope Metcalf.
Heyo,
She's
shout out to all the
amazing.
black queens.
Yes, shout out to that black queen specifically, because that's the one I married. So
Hey.
I'm not really worried about the other one. But
Hey, listen, which I officially locked in nickname,
yes,
L Train.
very bold.
Very-
Text message today was kind of like,
Hey.
hey, all right.
No,
we just
and
roll
I
with it.
asked Lori.
We
I
just
said,
roll
hey,
with
Lori, what's the vibe? She's like, hey, I think it's good. So
Really? You thought that? Okay.
Hey.
Come on. I did. Yeah.
Who's
For
L'Oreal?
sure. L'Oreal. I don't know. It's called L'Oreal.
Oh.
Yeah. Early days nicknames.
Wow.
But
Metcalf's
funny.
good for one good nickname.
yeah,
for sure.
for sure. Married to Lauren almost a year now, which is great.
That's awesome.
Amazing. And what else? Yeah, I work at a church doing creativity, doing creative stuff.
On
And-
this episode of Chandler Interacts with Humans.
Yeah. I do creative stuff for a church called Bayside out here.
Yes.
I've been doing that. Creative stuff in general for
Yes.
a long time, actually.
Yep. Ever since you had a Dodgers jersey in the closet.
Yes, a long time. Funny story. Not funny story, but the backstory
Yep.
is me and Aiden, Abby's little brother. We became good friends when you guys started dating, and throughout our friendship, we started to love clothes, and we started to want to make a clothing brand called Abnormal. So we did that.
What is? I've never actually heard. What is the backstory for abnormal? And it wasn't just abnormal. It was quotations AB
It really
in
was.
quote
Yeah.
normal.
Well, first of all, shout out to Virgil. Okay,
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
of
absolutely.
course that
We're all
was
throwing quotes on everything.
all throwing quotes on everything. Virgil was definitely the icon. And
Yeah.
so, no, I honestly couldn't remember. I do remember, however, being in the box yards with you when
Yep.
you worked at, what was that place called?
East and West. As far as our sins are from the East and West.
Yeah, East and West. And I remember being in there showing you like with these name ideas and stuff.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You helped me choose Abnormal. So it's
I
kind of
did.
your fault as well.
My fault.
Yeah,
no.
my fault. I'm gonna say that was kind of the backstory. But I started at
Yeah.
Normal with Aiden, and I wanted to create cool videos and graphics and website and all that stuff. And I didn't have any money, so I went to YouTube University.
Hey, there you go.
And I learned to do all that fun stuff. So I did graphics, videos for Abnormal, and it just kind of grew into. I did an internship at church, and from there, I've just been doing that same thing. So
when did we? I feel like we both had a similar trajectory in our experience of like sports and that world into creativity. Like I feel like I didn't register myself as a creative person like until after high school.
Yes,
so
definitely.
I feel like you had a similar thing. What was like the moment of like, oh dang, because we grew up playing sports, football, basketball, all the things, watching football, doing all of that, and then what was like the thing that shifted for you?
Question. I honestly couldn't tell you the exact moment. I do remember. I mean, this was. I don't know. I think it was, again, shout out to Virgil. I think it really was like when the 10 came out. And shoes and
for sure.
Thing. Like we were into fashion and all that stuff. Growing up, and it starts from Granny and it starts from all that stuff. But then also I remember you were doing Charles Creates, which is another amazing backstory. We'll show some of those.
What I did with
that. Those photos are great. We'll put those in there. But I just remember being around fashion and ideas. And then even as a kid, some of the young fits I was getting off. You know what I'm saying? in Oklahoma.
Hey,
you remember some of those tank tops.
A lot of tanks.
A lot of graphic tanks.
Graphic tanks.
Russell Westbrook was also a big
it's true. We lived in Oklahoma. Red glasses.
I changed my Instagram name to CBW _27.
Underscore
27 because it was Chandler Westbrook. What was my name?
Just changed your last name.
Yes, because I had the red glasses.
Russ was your new daddy.
I had the red glasses. I also got the white glasses when he had the white glasses.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you really.
The Ray-Bans were kind of my thing.
Hey, what are you saying?
So, I was hopping on the cultural moment for sure. But so that was always around. And then I don't know what was the specific catalyst for Abnormal, but I just remember. Oh, actually, I do. What am I doing? Jaden Smith.
There we go.
100%.
We were wondering if he was.
Catalyst.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember
that
everything. Jaden Smith, you were the son. God was going crazy.
Yep.
All those drops.
2013 to 2016 was a crazy time
for sure. And so I think all that stuff was
the culture was really popping off.
Fashion, whatever,
music,
stuff. And I was, teenager, becoming into years old. So it was just all that stuff.
Coming of age, a classic coming of age story.
And so I literally was like, hey, I want to start my own thing. There's literally a specific video of Jaden Smith and I think Willow, and they're talking about Misfits, and it was like, it inspired me so hard. Like, we were the Misfits. We're so like, nobody understands this, all this thing. And I was yes, this is it.
This is me.
And Jaden posted it in 3 block squares
on
his Instagram.
Yep.
I started doing that.
Absolutely.
Shout out to 490TX was his photographer, who's also the guy off of Hannah Montana.
Oh, Rico.
No. Is it Rico, babe?
No. Neek.
No. Neek.
That's the.
But Rico was the brother. Was him?
It was Rico's brother who was the photographer.
Yes, Rico.
It's not actually Rico.
No, it is Rico. Rico's brother was on Kicking It.
Oh.
He was on Kicking It. Yes, so it was Rico.
Fact check that. We'll get our producers to fact check that.
He was also a huge thing. I was like, yo, I love his photos. I love
his photos were
yep. And full circle. Not really, but me and Lauren in LA recently, and we saw him at the park.
You saw Rico?
I did, and I was like, that's really cool. And I didn't
just that you saw him.
He was in an argument with a woman, so I don't know how well his life's going, but it was very cool to see. So
shout out to Rico wherever you may be.
Right
there he is. 40X92.
Moises is his name, I believe.
Moises. I have a friend named Moises.
Yeah. So, anyways, there's a lot of that was the inspo, and I started Abnormal. Me and Aiden were doing it. We're doing the thing. And that's how the creative
amazing
got flowing.
You really got them juices.
And I was definitely, I was homeschooled, so I was just kind of chilling by myself, doing a lot of retrospection thinking, or
watching Shark Tank for business class.
I wanted to get an investment from you and Abby. You guys maybe put together a whole presentation. I don't know if you remember that. I wanted to get a screen printer.
Okay,
and you guys were like, go ahead and put a presentation for me together. It's a real classic 90s dad move for asking for a presentation from a 15-year-old kid. You're gonna learn how to do this. Be pitching. No, definitely didn't. Didn't get the money.
Did you do the presentation?
I did. It was a lot of photos of Luca Sabat. A lot of photos of
Luca, he's another prime inspiration.
First of all, fall off the map. First of all. I love.
First of all, Luca, if you're watching, we love you, big dog. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I have a lot of respect for him. I just think.
I'm just saying he's in a different place culturally.
He is, in a lot of ways, a lot of things have changed. But when he was on Grownish specifically.
Yeah. The vibes were insane. Hot mess.
And yes, hot mess.
You thought you were Luca Sabat for a while. Let's talk about that.
Dreads. Well, because Luca,
you had the choker,
had dreads,
yeah,
and
a tiny mustache,
and Jaden, and they both had dreads. So I started a dread phase.
Yeah, your dread phase I thought was really solid.
It was until I took them all out.
Yeah. Until you had not enough black culture to understand how dreads work, and you went to go get your dreads done and thought you needed to take them all out before you got them retwisted. That was
really tragic.
That's devastating.
Anyways, that was a long story, but that was
that was your entry. Into creativity.
Just that season of creativity and culture.
I've told Abby, I do feel like culturally, fashion and creativity is more of the front-facing culture nowadays. So people are cooler way younger, in my opinion, because like fashion, TikTok, all of that is like kids sitting in front of a thing, spreading their pants out really wide. Like that's like the vibe for a 12-year-old kid. Is like, and that was not the vibe. You were making Instagrams with edits, sports edits.
I was making sports edit Instagrams, and I also got caught for stealing some.
Yes,
there was a whole page that I had where I just ripped the actual guy's photos that he did.
And reposted them.
And reposted them like, shout out to Russ, had a great game. Made this dope edit.
And you were just lying.
I remember my dad, I got a DM and the dude was cussing me out. Freaking, and I was like, man, I'm 10 years old.
I'm so sorry. I don't understand how intellectual property works.
So, but definitely, that's so true. I haven't thought about that. But young fashion influencers were not a thing.
Not a thing at all.
And I remember, random story, Group Fly.
Gru's shout out to Vern.
Vern is really the OG.
He really is the OG on that.
He's the OG. So
them Thunder tees, man.
Fear the Beard tees.
Yeah, man.
We were fearing everything.
Okay. We need to actually talk about something. Yeah, this is a crazy intro. Be honest with you, we've already done this podcast once.
Yes.
We forgot to record.
We did forget.
So we're in our second bag. It's not as funny so far, but we're gonna keep going because we're faithful to the call. Slaves of Christ.
Yes.
Prisoners of Christ. As my mom always says.
Yes.
God chose me. The process of that, we got to tell that story because
it's a great story.
It is a great story.
Yes.
And I think, we talked a little bit about this, but I feel like instincts right away, you were, as we've talked about it, very concerned with what the creative direction was going to be.
For sure.
Talk about that.
Well, just to set the context, we are on a trip together. You're finishing actually writing the book.
Yes. Yeah.
So it was a great
where
trip.
I ran a half marathon, by the way.
Yes, randomly.
No big deal.
Classic Charles. So yes, we were on the trip, and this is kind of far into the process. We are, I don't know how many months away from it being finished, but it's kind of like, hey, we're getting out of the wire.
No, absolutely.
There has not been any conversation of me helping with the book or the creation of the cover, or any of that stuff at all.
Yeah. Which you were a little salty about.
For sure. Definitely was. I was definitely a little bit like, that's tough. It's kind of a cool opportunity. You know what I mean? We kind of doing it. It's like we wrote it. You know what I mean? It could feel like that. But you had other ideas. And again, shout out to JV. Shout out to the team.
The OG. Yep.
JV's the OG. And so when you chose JV, hit him up. It's like, yes, it makes sense. JV's done this before.
Yeah.
He's great.
It's super. It was just a super. I didn't know. It was just a new
deal.
world.
It's a very big deal.
Yes. It's always like, hey, I'm trying to really lock this in. You know what I'm saying?
JV's definitely, he has his stripes in the game. So
yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like, we got 5 seconds left on the clock.
Yes.
I'm throwing it to the OG in the corner.
I was definitely still like, dang, I could help a little bit, just a little consultation. But once you showed me the first rendering.
Yes, I showed you the first, which we didn't really have any strong direction going on. All we had was the yellow and black.
Yes.
So we knew that
and red was actually in that.
Red was in there, absolutely. So first concept, get them back, show them to you. I remember this moment. What goes through your head when I show you those first joints?
Like, man, this is tough. Let's break it down for a second. This is really bad. This is really bad.
Really bad?
Yes, because it just was not the you have a picture when I thought of, hey, look, Charles is gonna have a book. That's gonna be awesome. This is going to be such a cool moment. And you instantly, I mean, just as creative people, you have like, oh man, this is what it'll look like. This is the vibe, yellow and black, yes, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so I had all those things playing.
You had that in your head already.
And I'm like, oh, this is the vibe for sure. And whenever you showed it to me, it was just such a watered down, like, I don't know. It was just such like a washed out, faded, tragic thing. And it was tough. And it wasn't like, it wasn't that it was a bad design. It was just
not what you thought it was going to be.
Know that you wanted it to be.
Yeah.
What I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And I think obviously where we ended up is so vastly different.
Yeah.
Where it should have been.
Yeah.
It was like, oh man, this is far off.
Absolutely.
So I remember being in the bookstore and I was kind of like, hey, yeah. You kind of like, hey, these are the first ones. What do you think? And I was like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like,
these have something on it.
Yeah, these got words on it for sure. That's amazing. And so I was kind of like, that's tough. But again, I was never offered to.
You were never going to hit that over eager button.
I was never going to hit the, hey man,
I'd love to be your first.
I'd love to be your first. Whatever. I was just going to be like, hey, listen, this is your thing. I don't want to intrude. So you. So I don't know how you felt about the first renderings, but
no, they definitely weren't there, and I knew they weren't there. Yeah. I also knew that, like, whenever, to me, the most valuable thing in the process was the content of the book. So I was in that mode and knew it doesn't matter if the design is good if they open up this book and it's like me ma ooh like, so that was my mode. Was like they're gonna open up the book and it just be a vapid contents. So I was definitely in that mode, and because of that, I definitely wasn't in my creative bag. You know what I'm saying? Was not anywhere in the bag. The bag was gone. I left the bag at the airport, and it did not make the transfer to the flight.
Absolutely go.
So I think I got the first versions, and I was definitely hopeful of like, oh man, I think this is gonna be it.
And also, there's probably a little bit of like, this is just cool, no matter what. It's just
no, absolutely. It's like the opportunity is like, I'm gonna have a book in Target, so I could fit it to be whatever. So I think all those factors. So when I saw it, I was like, and I was like, let me check the vibes with the Brody. And you definitely
didn't have your face on it, which was a big part.
Yeah, that was a big part.
I didn't want your face. I didn't want your half spine on the joint. I didn't want to see.
You have a lot of problems with people with their face on the book.
I really do, because there's a lot of books that have faces on it.
That's true.
And in the market that you're in, it's kind of like an instant. Now, this is no shade. I just say personally, when I see a book with a face, it's like, this better be an autobiography. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this better be my life. You know what I mean? That's the title of the book, is My Life. It's your face, and that's it. Yeah, but if it's just face and then the completely unproductive, unrelated book contents, it's like, why is your face in the book? So I was definitely.
Which there's a lot of actual logic and sales.
I'm just saying.
Yes, but for you, that was like an immediate instinct.
Yes.
No face on the book.
My brother's face on the book, because that's going to feel weird if it's in my house and my brother's face is like, just sit on my thing. You know what I mean? So I was like.
Which, where we landed is I have actually 10 of my faces on the book.
Not really, but yes. You got a lot of belt buckle. Yes. You got a lot of belt buckle, got a lot of side profile. You know what I'm saying?
It's true. We did land on a creative.
Faces, and it feels way more authentic.
We haven't talked about that. How do you feel about that part of the book? Because we're going to talk about, you really helped on like the typography, layout, that design.
I think
but the photo shoot part of it, what are your thoughts on that?
It's sick. I definitely was skeptical just with the idea. But I mean,
such a hater, bruh.
I think, first of all, it's kind of like I didn't know what was going to be the photos. I didn't know how crazy. Oh yes, Oh yes.
Y'all did not like my idea. No, y'all are some bums,
100%,
bro.
100%.
The way both of y'all try to act like y'all like it now.
I didn't.
Y'all officially are cooked off the idea.
I didn't want to expose Abby, but Abby did send a text.
You sent a text?
Abby,
you scrub.
Deleted the text. First of all, sent the text that was.
Oh my gosh!
Text
you are
was
such a. This
invisible.
Turn the camera to me.
No.
While you're doing this, this just in. My wife hated my book cover. Listen, and didn't say anything and secretly tucks my brother.
I wish I had the text, because it's deleted, obviously. But it was definitely.
That's crazy.
Then Abby was like, "Hey, listen, I don't know."
Hey, listen. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. She's like, "Listen, if you can, maybe talk around his idea." Because here's what I'll say.
Y'all are some bums. And it was a great idea.
Here's what I'll say. It is a great.
And when I'm gonna start personally.
Yeah, exactly. And here's what I'll say. It was because the book was in such a different place. It really was. Like if you think of the designs that we had at that point, they were very typography. They were very coffee book. They
Yes.
were very word heavy, kind of just classic. And so
Yeah.
obviously now you can look at it and be like, yes, this is the perfect balance of both sides. Of like you have a perfect balance, but it was kind of the opposite direction of the entire thing that we were
Cannot
doing.
believe y'all, bro.
So
This is terrible.
anyways,
Wow.
we get to
Very
we get to
offensive.
the back of the book, and I think it's great. Actually, I love it.
Yeah, thanks a lot, bro. Yeah, appreciate that.
I do. I really do. I think it's great. I think it's definitely you, and I actually love the way it looks. I think I never had a super huge hand in like the layout and design of that thing, but I think with the doodles, with all the different sides of you and the story that it tells, I think it's actually really creative. So that's my opinion. But definitely there was a conversation of, hey, should we
That's
should we blow this up? Should we
crazy.
blow this up?
That is so crazy. Shout out to Grayson and Andler
Facts.
and JV
Big facts.
and Town and rejection to my wife
Yeah.
and Chandler. And shame on them. Shame unto them for not trusting my creative idea.
Hey,
And
your creative idea
all praise
also
be
was
to
the first
God.
thing. So I'm just saying,
well, listen, I'm just saying
there's a lot of iterations that did not end up where they should have been.
that's crazy, man.
So that's it.
That's wild.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm a little frustrated about that, so we're gonna move on. All right. Typography lays down. There's an amazing moment that we have to address,
There is.
which is what you have titled the Mega Mind moment.
Mega mind.
One of your
moment.
biggest Mega Mind
It really
moments.
is. It was amazing. It was
So-
so great.
Where we are, I haven't invited you into the process at
Haven't
all
invited
yet.
the process at all.
You are just giving your unwarranted opinions about.
I'm
No,
not
I'm
giving
joking. I'm
anything. This is
joking.
before
I'm joking.
everything. Yes.
So yeah, talk me through
So
where we're at.
this is where you're needing. Hey, the books. It's coming out. I need some run up. I need a website. I need
Yeah.
graphics,
I came to you like kind of the other side of it.
Yeah.
So it
You
was
came
like,
hey,
yeah.
this was very gracious. You know, hey man, Jerry can do this. I can trust him with that. Whatever. You know, I don't know what you're thinking, but I see it was something along those lines. You know what I'm saying? It was a little bit less intense. You know,
Yeah.
Designing my first cover of the book. So
Yeah.
you sent me like, yo, I need a website, I need this, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. So on the website,
I think Abby just got the camera straight. Is that on Chandler? Oh,
okay. So I'm sitting there on, I'm building the website. I'm
Yep.
like, okay, this is a cool opportunity. This is something I can own. This is something that
Yeah.
I will be able to.
It's kind of your moment.
This is my moment. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, I'm gonna do.
I'm
my
gonna start
thing.
looking for our
Yes.
key piece of
I'm gonna do
information.
my thing, and at least I know I can make this super dope.
Yeah.
So
Because you hate all my other ideas.
no, so I'm building it, and you said, hey, on this part, I want a big cover of the book, and then I want like a pre-order button. I want it to look, you know,
You
super
keep throwing
dope.
shade with that button quote.
No. I'm just saying there was a lot of button demand on the website. It was, I mean, when we were creating it the weekend of, it was a lot of button. Can we add another button? Can we get another button? Maybe. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like, you know, every scroll needs a button.
Which is true, bruh.
Yes, I agree. All
Okay.
this stuff is very good for selling books.
Yes.
My first priority is not selling books. My
Exactly.
thing is, if this looks dope, it's gonna sell the book.
Okay, there you go. That's
So,
great. That's great.
Anyways, so I'm designing this thing, and there is no cover, there is no finalized slide
Yeah.
or rendering. Of
You
the
don't
book.
have the you don't have the
So I'm
comfort.
like, okay, I want to make something, and I'll make something so fire that I know if Charles sees this, because I know Charles, if he sees this, he's gonna get those creative juices, you know, regurgitate or whatever word it is.
Regurgitate.
Rejuvenate
It's
those
gonna
those crazy things.
rejuvenate.
Sound like Xavier Leggett. Anyways, so I was like, this is my moment. So I literally grab a
computer mouse.
No, I grab a PSD file. I'm like locked in. I literally make what I think is a super dope cover. Like, yo,
Honestly,
this
a
is
great cover.
great cover. Honestly, if there is a time to redo the book or, you know, reprint it, we
Okay.
can maybe go with this cover. Maybe go.
You're saying yes, because you're saying one of the
I'm
ideas
saying
you're
I'm
talking.
holding out hope for if a book is really good, they do a lot
They
of
re-release.
20th anniversary,
Yeah.
whatever. So if that happens,
Yeah.
this will be amazing. You
This
can
will
already
be
see it.
yeah. It'll be a great story.
And so I make
Limited
it, I send you
edition.
the website.
Yeah.
It is literally, I think it's the first page of the website.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
You know, it has to be. And so I send it to you, no context. It's just like, hey man, you know, and it's a lot of when we're doing this type of stuff, it's a lot of through text. Yo, can
Yeah.
you do this? I'll
Yeah.
check it next week, whatever, blah blah. So I just send it to him, and you can play the.
Hey, listen, bro, here we go.
Go ahead and read what happened,
So here's what happens. He sends me the website.
my brother.
And
Right, G.
then now, honestly, right here, we got this a text from you. any update on the website domain stuff? Oh, that's a different day. But you're
Okay.
putting yeah. So on November 3rd,
Yes.
which is your birthday, that's great.
Really?
Yeah, that's wild.
Whoa! I was working for this man on my birthday.
No,
What
that's
a
when I
guy.
text you, bro. Get out of here.
Okay, so does that make it better? No, I think it's your birthday to make me. No, get out of here, bro.
No, it's when I responded, bro. You text me.
Text, no, happy birthday text.
That's not. It's crazy. I called you, bro. Get out of here. Anyways, so November 3rd. Yes, that's crazy.
Yes. Okay.
I send you a text.
Yes.
Yo, this goes hard
This goes hard.
because I saw the cover.
You saw the cover.
What font is that?
What font is that?
So I'm
classic.
classic curious
Classic, hey,
text,
man.
and
I
then
see that. What font is that?
what are you working with? What are you working with?
You know, I might, because again, I was just so like, if you saw it, you know, there's no way you can see this and think, what I got is better. Right
Yeah.
now. Especially, especially where it was at. And so, go ahead, play it.
Okay, so this is the voice of I get back from my little brother.
Amazing memo.
I was trying to tell you, man. What I was trying to say, Lori? I was trying to say what? I'm him when it comes. I was kidding. Isn't that crazy? I did that just for this scenario. That you would say that. Ooh, that's crazy. I know. If I was on that GCM, this is what I would do. Anyways, I'll send you the font.
Anyways,
I love you, but that's hard. Isn't it crazy?
isn't it crazy? It was
So you
crazy
are
because I
so
literally-
exuberant.
It is the most perfect classic case. You put a jar of honey in the middle of the woods and the bears come. That's what it was.
It was a big jar. It was a Pooh Bear
It was
moment.
a Pooh Bear. It was a Winnie joke. That's what it was. Classic Winnie.
Classic.
And so I literally,
Classic. Ooh,
Yes,
honey.
exactly. I literally caught you with your pants down, Winnie the Pooh, and I literally snagged you.
What?
I snagged you.
Whoa.
I snagged you with
This
the honey.
is my brother caught me with my pants down and snagged me.
I'm saying
What are you
Winnie
saying?
the Pooh doesn't wear pants, so I'm saying you were Winnie the Pooh in that scenario. It was a huge jar of honey, and
I'm walking out pantless.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, oh my goodness, this is honey. This is amazing. And the honey was my fire font and my fire GCM cover. And so when I made that, I was like, this is going to hit if he sees this.
Yeah.
It was the perfect, like, all right, I'm just going to send it and I'm going to sit back and wait for this response.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did. And you did exactly what I need you to do. So I appreciate you for cooperating with my amazing challenge and my amazing idea because that was great. No, it was honestly such a crazy, I don't know. I was so hyped on that cover.
Yeah.
And I think even, just the idea of like, oh man, this is cool. Even
Yeah.
if it goes anywhere or doesn't go anywhere, I would
Yeah.
love for you to see this. So it was just a crazy, I really was like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah.
This is crazy that you actually,
So talk to me about
actually
this.
like this.
Because I think this is important. This will kind of be, it's not serious, but I want to hear your perspective on it. I
Sure.
think you said there were two different things, which I think this is a cool, like, creative conversation to have.
Sure.
You said when you were designing the book and thinking about the design of the book, you were talking about, yo, my priority isn't selling books.
Yeah.
My priority is if it looks dope, it'll sell books.
Yes.
And so talk about like how you navigate creativity and like the balance of that, because I do think this is an interesting thing. There are a lot of people, even myself in the book process, felt the pressure of
Yeah.
the coolest creative idea
Yeah.
and then like going to market and like being the
Yeah,
most
yeah,
like
for sure.
I said this earlier, but like it's the difference between Drake and Kanye, which you know what I'm saying, it's a flag on the YouTube channel.
Yes.
People say the word Kanye,
For sure.
people want to freak out.
Definitely.
Meaning there is like and I'm talking to like, let's go back 2016, not
Yeah.
currently. But I'm saying there's like the global
Oh,
market.
summer 16.
Yeah.
Oh, summer 16. Playing
There's like the global, like acceptable,
Yes,
more
for sure.
traditionally accepted.
For
Then there's
sure.
like the offbeat, whatever.
Yes.
So yes, talking about like how do you navigate that? Even your thoughts on doing this with the book, because I think where we landed is
Yeah.
honestly a great mix of
It is a
both
great mix of
things.
both.
Yeah.
And I think it's it's just always a conversation in anything that you're creating, especially when you're promoting something,
Yeah.
and especially when you are designing for something to be sold and actually consumed. Instead of just like, oh, this could be
This is dope.
This
Yes.
could be just dope and it's just cool.
Yes.
Nobody has to do anything. There's no action
Yes.
step.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think, my thought is always creativity first, just
Yeah.
because that's
sure.
the way that I consume things most of the time.
There you
It's
go.
Like, hey,
That's
listen,
good.
I see a super dope sign for a store. I'm like, oh, that store looks sick. And I'm
Yeah.
going to go inside and see what it's like.
Yeah.
And so the idea behind the cover, or when I'm making most things, is like, hey,
Yeah.
if this looks cool, then I know, again, I wasn't writing the book. So I was like, I'm sure the book is going to be great on the inside. But like the part that would attract me,
Yes.
I'm going to have control over it. I'm going to make sure that
Yeah.
like, hey, if somebody sees this and they're like, somewhat similar to design taste of me or whatever,
Yeah,
or even
yeah.
you, because
Yeah.
I think that was the big thing too, was like it has to represent you, because
That's true.
that's what we're selling. Also,
Yeah.
we're selling this guy's idea for
Yeah.
whatever he's talking about.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I think beauty in general, if you get into, you know, the theology of creativity or whatever,
Yeah.
but like beauty actually does things to the human soul. It
Yeah.
does things to people, and you could obviously look at, you know, a font in a yellow and say that's not beautiful, but you can have
Yeah.
the context of culture, the context of what people consume and all that stuff, and be like, oh man,
Yeah.
this definitely says something for that time, for
Absolutely.
that place. And yeah, I was also like, I want to be able to have this book in my house and have it feel like this is just a cool book to look at.
Yeah.
And like, as a person who likes to read books and likes to have books, there's a lot of books on the shelf.
Yeah.
That like, I want to be able to put it up there and it looks cool. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh man, that kind of speaks for itself. And hopefully, it draws some people to
Absolutely.
be like, oh man, I wonder what this says. It looks
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
bold choice. It looks like a super cool like design style. And so even with the original one, like
Yeah.
the words God chose me are super small on it.
Yeah.
It's kind of just a big G.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a looking thing. But if I saw that book, I
Yeah.
would be like, this is just dope. And I
Absolutely.
would pick it up and I would look at it.
Yeah.
And then it's like mission complete. You know, that's what I felt like.
Mission accomplished.
I felt like mission complete if you pick it up and look at it and think
Think it's cool.
And so
Which is a great thought that I feel like in certain circles or whatever, that the instincts on what is cool is sometimes frowned upon in certain spaces.
Sure.
It's like, oh, you shouldn't be trying to make something look cool.
Yeah.
And I think there's a balance of that and
sure.
preaching and all different types of things, how you present the gospel and the message of Jesus. But I do think that is an awareness point of like, that is a real thing. And like, from a creative perspective, I was talking to somebody, they're actually working on a book, and the quote I said, which was kind of like, it's kind of funny and random, but I said, the fish you're trying to catch are only as valuable as the net you have. And what I meant by that is like, people really focus on like, it doesn't matter if the inside of the book is good, if nobody reads the cover, if nobody picks it up,
for sure.
or whatever idea you have. And I think there are a lot of people who have a lot of great ideas.
Yes.
But one thing I have definitely learned from Mike is a part of the reason he works so hard with illustrations and the sermon titles, all that, is because he knows like people don't care until they look at it.
Sure.
And so there is a layer of like, you have to find your own balance that is authentic to you and all those things.
Interesting. Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off, but I just had thought about
But I'm going to.
I'm just had thought about it. People, the saying of like, literally don't judge a book by its cover is a saying because that's what we all do. So it's kind of like,
Yes.
okay, so instead of you, that's a great principle to have.
Yes.
With people and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, every time I do see a book, I do judge the cover. So
Yes,
it's kind of
absolutely.
like, okay, this is what the human condition is.
Yes.
And so
We are all judging books
be-
by the cover.
Yes, let's be aware of that. And
Yes.
so, I don't know. Yeah, I just feel like it is valuable to know. I mean, we talked about that last time, but like the Creative Act Rick Rubin book is
Yes.
like probably one of the coolest books.
Yeah.
I haven't read it yet.
No,
but
me neither.
it's-
I own it.
Yeah.
I haven't read it.
but it's been on display. And I bought it purely because it looks cool.
Yes.
So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
I think, especially too with the people that are drawn to you, drawn
Yeah,
to your
yeah.
message, it's
Yeah.
important for them too. And
Yeah.
it's important for you to be like, hey man, this is something really cool. And I just, as you talked about writing the book and being
Yeah.
proud of something, I think it's cool to have a book that looks like, oh, this is really cool.
Yes.
And for marketing and for merch or whatever. it
Yeah,
may be,
yeah,
it
yeah.
can be like,
Absolutely.
this can all be one thing that I'm super
Yeah.
proud of. And that was a big deal. For
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Definitely a
So we got to jump a little bit in the story.
big- Yes.
Release weekend.
Yes.
Pre-order release weekend.
Yes.
You, L Train, mom and dad,
Yes.
surprise me.
Surprise you
Abby-
in your front yard. And you
Shirtless. I'm shirtless in the front yard.
Shirtless, and it was a great surprise. Shout
Yeah.
out to
Caught me
Abby.
with my shirt off,
Amazing.
pants on.
Yeah, pants on this time, shirt off. And shout out to Abby, amazing wife.
Yes.
Surprise. And
Yeah.
so we all
Really
came
crushed
down.
that whole weekend.
100%.
Yeah. We had a dinner
Yes.
that Abby planned for me, which I still haven't said anything about. I need to like make like a post about it because that was like
amazing,
one of
yeah.
the most significant things that I think happened. Which I recently got some of this advice from another author. You were with me there when I asked this moment.
Hey, got a picture.
You got a
Show
picture.
right?
Yeah. Got a picture, which
a
was
picture.
dream come true. But one of the things that Abby did is I feel like going into the weekend where I was going to announce I wrote a book and you can pre-order it. The night before, we did a celebration with all of our closest friends, and just had a moment of like celebrating it.
Yes.
Everybody went around and like encouraged me, and I really did. It was cool because I felt like because I did that before on that Sunday when we were announcing it, all the nerves of like, oh God, people are gonna buy it, blah blah blah. I just felt so full. Like I felt like, you know what, like this is great. I've already kind of won.
Yes.
So that happens, but you had a ton of work to do.
First of all, I was going to be doing this halfway across the country.
Yes.
Which would have been tragic because there was a lot of minute changes.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
and going up and down.
Yeah.
Again,
A lot of graphics that were made like a button.
yes, a lot of buttons that you think are buttons. They're not graphics.
Let me tell you, if you dig into that website, there ain't not near one button.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a lot of work, and I was obviously really excited, but it was like, hey, man, we got
it was also big leagues.
Big leagues.
Yeah.
Worldwide published book.
Yeah.
On the internet.
TC Nation.
is
about to.
And again, I want you guys to know, I do this. This is my job. I am professional. I get paid to do this.
Yes.
For churches, I do contract. So it's not like.
So you can hire me. You know what I'm saying? I'd love to be your creative director.
So I'm just saying, it's not like I'm some random bum.
No, you're not a bum.
This is not.
But also, you got that Metcalf hustle.
Yes.
So you know what I'm saying? You do
exactly.
You can't figure it out.
So I go into the weekend. I'm like, this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
We are doing.
We're also celebrating.
We're celebrating and we're grinding. So
Yeah.
It's like a lot of stuff happening. And we're just having fun.
Yep.
There's, 4 kids running around.
Yep.
I'm a great uncle.
You-
I think. And I love to spend time with them. They
Yes,
love me,
absolutely.
and I love them.
Yeah.
And so it's great. And so we're
Vibes are up for sure.
Yeah. So, but we're playing football in the backyard. We are dancing. We're swinging. We're doing a lot of stuff.
We're jiving. We're jive turkey. I mean,
swinging blue. And
oh,
things,
okay.
I'm
In the
saying.
swing.
We're
Yes.
swinging.
Okay.
We're playing football and soccer. We're doing a lot of fun stuff.
Yes.
And so it's just all of that.
Yeah.
And it's also the most intense
Yes.
stuff has to be produced, and it's a big deal.
So you got to make the website.
Make the website.
We kind of get through all the design tweaks.
Yes.
But it's the night before I announced my book to the world. Thousands of people about to come to the website.
Yes.
And you have a small detail to work out.
Yes. So the main thing that was going to
That
be
you
the
completely
final-
avoided to the very end.
Yes. The
And I
final-
do remember asking you about it a lot.
Many times.
And you be like, yeah. I mean, that's just I've done that before. I'm definitely
I have
gonna.
done it before.
And I definitely sensed your
Stress.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
I was for sure.
And I was kind of just like,
And
you know
I can
what?
Tell you, and I can tell you why. Because the main thing we're going to do is connect the domain, charlesmetcalf.com, to the domain that it was built, the website
Yes.
was built on.
Yeah.
So I was sending, let's make sure we get everything else small really locked in and dialed before we do that. Because once you do that, it's kind of like you locked into this website. So let's make sure everything's good before we do that, right?
Okay.
Which is not a bad train of thought. But it is a bad train of thought when this is mere hours before.
Yes,
live.
absolutely.
So I was sitting there. This is the night before.
Yeah.
We've done everything. We were exhausted. This is after the dinner that we just had.
Yes.
Which was late at night.
Yep.
We had a great
We
time.
got home. Yep.
We got home. We're doing more edits to it. And so it's late. And we've been doing a lot of stuff.
Yep.
And so we're all tired. And tomorrow's the next day. And we're kind of doing stuff. And I remember you being like, all right, let's just make sure we connect that domain.
Oh, yeah,
We're good.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, hey, we're solid. We're going to be so great when you wake up.
I
You
tell you
go to
what,
bed.
you go to you did encourage me to go sleep.
Yeah, you were like, hey, are you good? I'm like, bro, I got it.
What do I look like?
What do I look like? I got this.
This ain't my first time around the
Exactly,
park.
exactly. So you go to your room, you go to bed, and I'm sitting there. And I'm
You
like,
do
all
whatever
right,
you doing in
I
there.
got to do a few things, and I will connect to the domain. So
Easy
when you
money.
are connecting a domain to a website, you first of all, depending on what builder it is, there's
Yep.
a lot of different ways you can do it. This one particularly had a lot of coding involved.
Yes.
I'm not a coder.
You don't code.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
And so I was a little bit stressed because it's a big deal.
Yep.
And they literally give you multiple warnings. They have a whole section for connecting the domain to the website.
Yeah.
Say, hey, need help?
Yeah, need
Question
help?
mark? You know
Question
what I'm
mark.
saying?
They felt your insecurity.
Yeah.
They felt your.
Exactly.
They
feel exactly
They're
what's
like
happening.
bumblebees. They can sense your fear. They're like,
Yeah.
hey, brother, we
Hey,
see your
need help?
trip.
Question mark. It looks like you're hovering over this button a little too long. That's exactly what's happening. So it's like, hey,
And then
help?
you rejected the help.
Yeah, have our professionals reach out to you. We can get it to you done. Whatever. I'm like, hey, listen, it's too late for that. We got hours. It's 2 a.m. right now.
It's 2 a.m. I ain't got time.
None of y'all.
Be
So,
on it.
that was number one. I bypassed that. Then
Yeah.
I go to do it myself. It's like, doing it yourself. Okay, make sure you understand the risk.
Make sure you know what you're doing.
Yes, exactly. It says this. If you do this wrong, basically, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
If you do this wrong, your website will be gone forever. It will be deleted from the World Wide Web. And we have spent literally months building.
Yes,
a website.
100%.
It's very intentional and it's
Yeah.
very crucial to
everything, to
right?
the sales of the book.
Yes, and I remember calling Aaron on some of the calls. And
Yeah.
Hey, let's just make sure the website's
Yeah.
Let's make sure it can handle the traffic. And I'm like, hey, listen, I'm a traffic handler. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, chill.
I'll tell you what.
There's one thing I can do.
Direct traffic.
I can handle some traffic.
I'm a crossing guard. So I was like,
shout out to Aaron, who really bringing the business together.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it was great.
There was a couple group texts. She's like, hey, yo, where we at?
Where we at?
You know what I'm saying? So
Some of us, both of us, are not great at.
No, absolutely not.
Staying on top of that stuff.
And I'm in meetings there. She's like, where we at the website? I'm like, yo, you might want to reach out to Chan.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just directing
we're
that traffic
all
all your way.
So I am going to copy and paste the code. I copy paste the code. Long story short, I then refresh the page.
Yeah.
And it says success. And I'm like, oh, great.
I did
Why
it.
was I stressed? It was so easy. It was literally a copy paste. This was dumb. And then I go to refresh. 404 error not found. No
Bam. Website is gone.
Gone.
3 a.m.
3 a.m.
We're announcing at 10 a.m.
10 a.m. announcing. And I'm like, this is gone. This is crazy. So I'm like, let me chill.
Let me.
Sometimes it takes a little refresh.
Yeah.
Let me just make sure. Wi-Fi might be off. You know what I'm saying?
Let me reconnect.
Let me reconnect. And so then I do it again. No, nothing. There's nothing. Absolutely nothing's happening. So I'm constantly refreshing. Then I look at the fine print. It's like, hey, might take a few hours to connect. Because
it's updating servers all over the world.
Updates the servers across the entire world, World Wide Web. So I'm like,
Thanks for reminding us what www stands for.
like, okay, this is fine. It'll update in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Do some of the other stuff I need to do for tomorrow.
Making the trailer.
So I'm finishing up the trailer. Hour and a half, 2 hours later, about 5 a.m., I recheck on it. And I'm like, dang, it still ain't there.
It still ain't there.
It's
So
still
at this
ain't
point, it's 5 a.m.
5 a.m.
5 hours to it now.
The website,
what is going?
CharlesMetcalf.com does not exist. And it's kind of the entire thing. So I'm there and I'm like, man.
Are you processing what you're gonna have to say to me?
Processing. I just, oh my gosh, it was crazy. I was like, listen, this is tough. And there was talk of it's going to have to be next week. It's going
to have to be next week.
It's going to be next week, or it's going to have to be a QR, or it's going to have to be something. Something's going to have to happen. And so I literally am refreshing. I'm grabbing every device I have.
So yeah, you
my wife's computer,
which we asked. I asked Lori this. She said she vaguely remembers coming out of sleep with
yes.
you with 14 devices
literally,
open.
Every device. I got the iPad, my iPhone. I got my Nintendo Switch. I got everything refreshing the page, and nothing's happening.
Nothing.
I do one of them.
It pops up.
CharlesMetcalf.com. And I'm like, okay,
we got a little hope here. Yeah.
Great. Then I do the other ones. They're still not working. I'm like, man, this is tough. Then they give you, I'll give you a refresh of this one. It's like, website not secure. Do you want to visit the website? I'm like, listen, we can't be having people visit websites. They don't think it's secure. It would be tragic. So then I'm like, let me just wait a little bit. And it's not like you can wait.
And we ain't got much more to, because you can't go to sleep with no website.
Go to sleep and be like, oh, it'll be fine.
You wake up and be like, hey, man, so.
No, yeah. Wake up. Eventually, long story short, somehow.
Yeah.
Works. Shout out to the World Wide Web for doing this thing. And
the website comes through. Let's fast forward. Abby gave us a signal. We're talking too long.
Yep.
We're right on time, actually.
Yes.
But the morning, pre-order morning, very great memory, honestly. Amazing memory. We're there. You
still stressed out.
Still stressed out though. You're still stressed. You slept 30 minutes.
Slept 30 minutes. You went, came, got me up, and like, all right, we go.
Hey, bro. You're like, all right. So you get there. You're talking to the team.
Yes.
You were saying it was a little, you know what I'm saying, just getting all these videos. Yeah, talking about
videos, the amount. DC is it's a machine up there.
Yeah. It's really a big operation. We have an Unreal Engine.
Unreal Engine.
I don't even know. We may need to get the real engine, but I don't know.
Which is insane. People are talking to me. I'm kind of understanding what's happening. Some of these things I don't understand.
Yeah. They're just asking questions like, yo, can you translate that to the carburetor?
Exactly. I'm connecting the carburetor to the motor, and the motor is not working. So I'm like, man, these people are next level. So I'm in there, but I'm also like, hey, I've done this.
Yeah.
So
untouchable confidence.
Untouchable confidence. So we get there, everything is loaded. Everything is ready to go.
Yep.
And
There's a moment where
we're loaded. We're looking at the stuff on the huge. I don't know what the dimensions.
it's
are.
1,000 dimensions.
1,000-foot LED wall. Could literally cover my entire apartment with that. Needed to, which is crazy. I could literally walk into this room and it could be whatever I want.
You could be on the set of Mandalorian like that. You know what I'm saying?
So it's literally humongous, and we're sitting on the stage. And it's kind of like I got my computer on. Whoa! I got my computer in my hands, and I'm like, I'm kind of in the zone. I'm in the creative zone.
Yeah. You're in your bag.
You got the God Chose Me shirt on.
Yeah.
We're just like, oh, this is a cool pic. This is gonna be live.
Yeah. It's kind of a moment.
It's kind of the moment that you wanted to have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you didn't. I didn't force it. But whenever it was happening, I was definitely thinking, this is happening. This is happening right now.
And by that you mean at TC,
there's always a photographer running around doing something.
Yeah.
And so
you knew there was a little moment here.
I definitely hope, because this is a really cool moment for Charles.
Brother.
Brother moment. This is kind of really awesome.
This is like a bigger brother night.
Yeah. Exactly.
The ultimate brother night.
Brother morning. And we are sitting there on the stage, crouched, we're editing stuff.
Yep.
And I was like, man, this is going to be really cool.
Yep.
Photos back. There's only 2 of them. And there's literally 2 options.
Yep.
And we're both kind of me.
Yeah,
so
that's true. So
it's tough, but I also think it just is a funny story that we can remember, look back and be like,
Yeah.
man, this is crazy. But it was still felt really cool. Then the trailer is being played.
yes.
The trailer's being played, and you talk about it.
Yes, I just think the video of the sermon's obviously crazy, and the energy of it is awesome. But the Interstellar theme,
Yes, my favorite movie.
another Easter egg.
Yeah, Easter egg, my favorite movie.
Favorite movie. Shout out to Young Timmy.
It's Young Tim.
Shout out to Young Tim.
I love it, and it's such a great movie.
It is a great movie.
That was really cool.
So the soundtrack,
Yep.
the video plays, and I definitely am just immediately overwhelmed with emotion.
For sure.
Because it's like, I did it. It's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah.
It's like, from here, there's tons of work to do,
Yeah.
but it's done and the world knows. And it was kind of like a deep breath
Yes.
of all of the things. A deep breath of
Yes.
the idea, of writing the book, of the creative process, the website at 5 a.m.,
Yes. Oh.
all of it. And so I'm bawling, crying. And just, I think, too, one thing, I don't think I've got to say, but one thing about that moment when it was released was I felt like it was a cool moment to have this with our church, meaning like me and Abby have really grown up at that church.
Yeah,
like I came as a 23-year-old with no kids.
Crazy.
And so to be 31 years old,
Yeah.
I've written my first book. Yeah. I've been preaching here for 8 years. You know what I'm saying? It just
Yeah,
felt
that's a
like
big deal.
it was like the family was like, man, we're so proud of you. And I felt all of that. And so it was just like an epic moment.
Yes.
I'm crying. The video plays. And the video's just dope.
Great
like
video.
the energy
Great video.
is just super awesome. So that was my
Yes.
experience.
And I was there, and I was definitely taking it all in.
Yeah.
I was definitely like, this is really cool. But I was also like,
Yeah.
I want to experience this. My thought was, this is an amazing moment for Charles.
Yeah.
And this is a really cool, I think, just in our relationship, I'm experiencing, hey, what does this mean for me? That's
Yeah.
really what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is like, of course, I could kind of be like, yo, but I was also like, man, this is, what am I feeling right now?
Yeah.
I'm
Absolutely.
also experiencing this as a
Absolutely.
separate thing. I
Yeah.
don't have to feel like I'm writing the book. I just feel like, hey, this is a cool
Yeah,
moment
yeah,
for my family. And so, obviously, I'm sitting there now with my wife.
Yeah.
And I think just me and you, our relationship has gotten so close.
Yeah.
And obviously, we've always been close, but just you think of your life and ups
Yeah.
and downs and going through different things. And
Yeah.
like, man. And I think during the whole process, I was like, it was very important to me that I was there and able to show support. and
Yes.
able to show, like, hey, man, this is a really cool thing.
Yeah.
I'm here with you.
Yeah.
And this is going to be awesome.
Which was, I want to say, so important to me that, I mean, the night before you gave one of the most epic speeches. I mean, one of the orators of a generation. Really,
There's some amazing orators there.
there you were in the midst of some of the greatest orators
Yes,
of all
I
time.
was definitely there.
And you rose to the occasion.
I did rise.
And you took all that traffic.
And I did.
So I just want to shout you out for that.
I did deliver a great speech.
Yeah.
I tend to do. Shout out to
In your 2 speeches that you give.
I've hit both of them. Let's be honest. Because I've been at weddings recently, and they did not hit their speech. And I always say, Lauren, my speech was great. Because it was great. And it was great.
That was not what I was going with.
Sorry, go ahead.
All that I'm saying is, I think you, the other 2 people in this room,
Yes.
are the short list, and then the 4 people that me and my wife have created
Yes.
is the short list of people that I genuinely care about their opinion about me, about my life,
For sure.
about what I'm doing. And so I think your affirmation
Yeah.
meant so much to me
For sure.
in that dinner, in the creative process.
Yeah.
And so even in that moment, it was such, and I think what you're expressing of like your support through the creative process,
Yeah, yeah.
I felt that. It was
Yes.
like, oh, dang, okay. So anyways,
Well, no,
yeah.
there's moments that are important to be there for, and there's
Yes.
moments that there's important to show. You just think back at life, like, oh man, that wasn't that serious. Oh, I wish I was.
Yeah,
this
yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. And it's kind of like, yeah, there's just like, I want to be able to look back and be like,
Yeah.
this first book that my brother wrote of 20 ideas that he has in his phone right now, whoever,
Yeah.
it's going to be many, and it's going to be like, okay, we're doing this all the time.
Yeah.
Whatever, the first one, I want to be able to be like, hey man, that was a really cool memory.
Yes.
I was there the whole way. We had some fun moments. and
Yeah,
some fun
yeah, yeah.
things, but also, this is just really cool.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, I think,
That's
and this is, we're officially way over time, but I
Yes.
think one thing that is important that I feel like I learned from experiencing it is not to assume people know that you
Yeah.
support,
Yes.
are encouraging, and love them. And I think we have enough, obviously, friendship, relationship, and all those things. That it's like, oh, it's my brother. He's here. I know he loves me.
Yes.
But I think you articulating that, there were some things you said in your speech, just like
Yeah.
a couple of key moments
Yes.
that were like, I don't want this moment to go by without
Yes.
you hearing me actually say,
For sure.
this is super dope, or you're
Yes.
whatever. And so that was something that was a cool moment that was like, oh man, like I know my brother loves me and I know he thinks it's cool and I know he wouldn't be here if he didn't care.
Yeah.
But hearing you say it, it was something that I think was,
Yeah.
it just meant more. That it was like, oh dang, you said that. And I just think that's a really cool thing for people to, it's sometimes easy to assume. Like, oh, they know I love them, or they know whatever.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, but like
Yes.
that doesn't mean you still don't. So anyways,
You
that
only
was
feel those things or notice them if they're absent. And
Yes.
then I didn't want to be that. I wanted to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
like, hey man, I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
present. And of course, there's just, I think with our relationship too,
Yeah.
we have there, which I said in my speech, there's definitely, not to read back the speech, but just to say, yeah.
ball score 3 years.
Yeah. No, but there's definitely something with our relationship specifically where it's like
Yeah.
we are very close to
Yep.
each other. Our words mean a lot to each other.
True.
And so I think, just something that I was like, man, I know what it would feel like from my perspective. to
that's
be,
really
like,
good.
Doing something that I feel like is the most, whatever my coolest, biggest achievement would be.
Yeah.
And I would definitely want Charles to be there
Mm-hmm.
and for Charles to encourage me. And I know he would be super excited and encouraging and vocal about it, no matter what it was. Really. Unless
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I was doing something insane. He would be there and be like,
Yeah.
oh, this is awesome. This is
Yeah,
really
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
And so I think that was the perspective that was like, man, this is
Yeah.
an amazing thing. And it could be a thing of like, oh man, great job, bro. Love you.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
It could
yeah.
be a text or it could be a months long worth of support and
Yeah.
ideas and being able to have fun and laugh and then to experience it together.
Yeah.
And I think that was something that was super valuable that I wasn't willing to pass by because you only get a few of those things.
That's
hopefully.
true.
And so it's like,
Very true.
man, this is be really awesome. And so, yeah, I think it was a great weekend.
Yeah.
A lot of fun stories.
There's a lot of great
A lot of
stories.
stories through the creative process, but it was awesome. So
Very awesome. Well, I'm just so appreciative of you, your creativity,
Thank you.
and your support. And just as brothers, I'm very grateful. And I think it's super cool. And this is also super fun. Coolest
Yes.
podcast in the world.
Sure.
And or video series, whatever it's called.
Hey-o.
So that concludes it. God chose me.
Got you, me.
God chose me. God chose you.
Got you, me. Got you.
Be careful with these accents.
Yeah, that's
I'm gonna shut this thing
crazy.
down before it gets dangerous.
Yes.
God Chose Me. You can pre-order it anywhere that you get your books, or you can go to the website that Chandler Metcalf
If
created.
you've built a website and you know it's a little bit janky, don't tell me because I think it's great and it works. It does the job.
It
So
does
great.
the job. CharlesMetcalf.com. And yes, God Chose Me, June 17th. We love you. Adios.